So let me get this straight. Freya wants a threesome with Ryu and Belle? Is that what she's saying? I guess it just goes to show how much Freya really likes Ryu. Like, in the end, after all this crap, she's like, join us. Like, hey, I'm not really cool with anybody else touching Belle. Like, I want him all to myself, but if you want some, come and join me. We'll all come together. You could even have a kid. Okay. A very, very, I wasn't really expecting that, but again, that makes sense. I mean, back here, before she was even planning on doing all this stuff, like Freya had the plan to do all this crazy stuff. She was pre-planning it. At the point that she was planning this whole stuff, she still went to Ryu and asked her for permission to have the date. Like, even then, when she was literally ready to do all this, she was asking Ryu for permission. Is it okay if I go on a date with Belle? She, even at that point, still wanted to be friends with Ryu, which is, yes, getting into the continuous craziness that is Freya's character. Like, the more we get into her story, the more there's something missing up there. Like, this girl's got screws loose. And I think, like I was kind of predicting previously, I think this whole thing is going to turn into a massive growth for her as a character to become more, I guess, human. Because, again, she doesn't think the same way people think. Even though she's been hanging out with them for so long, there's a screw loose. Like, this girl just does not see things properly. Like, that's evident with her confronting Anya. When she was talking to Anya, what? Like, what is this? What is this conversation? Like, it just feels off. Like, it feels completely off, which honestly, this is kind of finally that coming to the forefront, because I've been questioning for a while now how they're going to sort of handle everybody realizing that Freya was Seer the entire time. Like, are they going to take whatever Seer was and just copy paste it into Freya? Does, like, Freya become the symbolism of Seer? Like, do they just completely connect that, or would they reject it? It seems obviously based on, for sure with Anya, she's rejecting it. Like, her brain just doesn't want to do that. She immediately rejects it. This is crazy. This can't be right. She's going nuts. And I think this is going to ultimately really break Anya. Like, I felt really bad for Anya in this situation. She just can't. No, you're Freya, and now Seer's gone, basically. For her, Seer is dead, and that's equally as tragic for her. With Ryu, it almost felt like she was accepting it, but at the same time, she just thinks that Freya is crazy. And again, that goes to how Freya's responding to this whole situation. She's not saying, I've always been Seer, please don't reject me, I've always been her, I'm still her, even though I had a different form. No, she's going straight to the route of, I was playing with you all. It was fun. This is goddess playtime. I just wanted to hang out and have fun, which sort of does play into similar to what the whole situation is with the gods and goddesses, that they give up their power and their divinity and they come down and they live amongst the humans to be with them, to entertain themselves and to have fun with them. And Freya has always seen it as, this is my playground. Being a goddess is boring. I came here to have fun, so I'm gonna mess with people. And that turned into her literally becoming Seer, to just mingle amongst them, act like one of them, until eventually she falls in love with Belle, and everything absolutely breaks to that point. But it still doesn't kind of erase every experience that she's had with these individuals, but it does seem like some of them have more weight than others. Again, especially with Ryu, it seems like that connection with Ryu was extra special, even to the point now where she's destroying everything, and she wants Ryu to be a part of it. And additionally, and especially, doesn't want to charm her. She doesn't charm Anya as well, but it seems like that's an agreement that she has made with her brother. It seems like she's made some sort of agreement with Alan that she's not going to charm. She's going to leave it to him. He can handle it. Let him handle it. Which I'm pretty sure that's going to blow up in her face. That's for sure going to blow up in her face. I was talking about before this entire arc kind of blew up, when it had the whole date period. And we had that little segment towards the later part where they finally discovered Horn. They were going after her. And Anya couldn't do anything. And I really felt like, man, it's almost as if they're going out of the way to downplay how strong she is. But they're also hinting at the idea that she used to be special. Alan himself is saying that you're messing around. Stop being an idiot. Stop being a clown and going, nya, 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 nya. He was almost like he was making fun of her speech patterns. He's making fun of her like she's turned into a clown. And that she used to be something special. So I'm assuming, yes, now that you have him literally protecting her, like it seems like he's protecting her from Freya, despite the fact that it feels like they don't get along, and he's mistreating her, treating her terribly. Yes, calling her names. he's still trying to protect her. And I think in return, that's going to blow up in his face and Freya's face, as I think that obviously Anya is going to be one of the people that will probably stand up and take this down. Now, that gets into me and my growing theory here on how this is all going to resolve, because this episode especially feels like it's Freya being reacquainted to the fact that she was Seer. She's trying to connect with people using Seer, but it's blowing up in her face. Like, I almost feel like this whole situation is blowing up in her face. She's now realizing how much Seer was important to people. And yes, even having Belle, the one that she loves the most, calling her Seer. And now she's going over here and she's looking at this hairpin that she kept. Mind you, she kept the hairpin. Now, that can obviously be a thing that was the first gift to her, even though it was Seer, the first gift to her from Belle. But she's keeping it, even though Seer is dead. Again, she has stated Seer is dead. She's still keeping the thing that Belle got Seer, even though for her, it probably means that it's for her. She's starting to become conflicted, and I think this is going to be the fixing point. I still think there's going to be a big epic battle. It still has to, I would love for it to not have to have a big epic battle. Like, I don't think we need to have resistance comes in and destroys things. I kind of like the idea of Belle and Ryu and everybody else sort of slowly hinting at the idea that you liked being Seer. You like Seer. And that will conclude the ability for it to end with the idea of Freya becomes Seer in the end. She accepts what she's been this whole time. Because let's be perfectly clear, Seer is more to even us as a viewer, especially us as a viewer, and is more to everybody else in this group, besides the people that are, main figures in the Freya Familia. Everybody else, they know Seer more than Freya. She's more of a character and a personality and memories to them than Freya herself. She has more of a presence in this town as Seer. So it can easily end in the point where at some point Freya accepts Seer as being herself, and a self that is more human than anything else. Because honestly, again, Freya, she's broken. She's broken. She can't act around people properly. Like she's not going to be somebody that, even though she's hot, yes, she's hot, as a person, Seer is more well-rounded. Freya is crazy. Let's face it, Freya's crazy. And there's a lot of people that are like, I don't need a fixer, or I could fix her. She's crazy. She got screws loose. Willing to do all this stuff. It shows that there's something wrong there. And again, I think there's a lot of cases where when it does show that Freya has a personality and she does act normal, she acts silly, like the end of the last episode, her getting all goofy and giggling and just rolling around the bed. That's Seer. I'm sorry. That is Seer. She's acting off the norms. Like, I couldn't even expect Horn to say, Freya, are you okay? Like, what are you doing? But anyways, it all goes down to the point where I think it would be a really cool thing, rather than have, yes, Hestia gets a group of people. She's going to meet off with Hermes, obviously. It seems like Oranos was trying to push her away in that room to say, don't talk. Literally, Fel's right here is listening. She has eyes everywhere. I'm going to set up Hermes to do this whole firewood thing with you. Hint, hint. That's your chance to get with Hermes and figure this out, because I can't do anything. She's obviously going to meet with Hermes. They're going to probably try to work on some way of sort of getting that note to him. It's going to be the right time. They're going to be kind of off the side. Frey can't see them. They're going to build up an army. Anya's going to join them. You're going to have... I'm guessing that Andromeda is going to probably find a group as well. I'm not sure exactly who, but she's going to join in as well. They're going to get their group together and they're going to fight. But I don't care about that side. I really don't think... I think that's just kind of standard fare there. I would be more interested to see if it does end with the idea of them just overcoming Freya as a person and to bring out Seer as a person. The end of the episode did also confirm what I've been kind of speculating here, is that it's going to be people around Freya that will rise up. Hedden at the end of the episode is literally fighting it. Please keep faithful to her. Like, he himself is telling himself, don't rise up against her. But he's obviously seeing that there's a conflict here. Freya is breaking. She's not acting to her own benefit. This is going to ruin her, and I think that's going to cause him to kind of stand up. Interesting that he's wanting to train Belle, and that's seemingly him trying to be at Belle's side to sort of keep him in check, but I think it is going to turn into a thing of trying to help him in some way. I'll be interested to see how he does that. But additionally, yes, seeing Horn in that scene, also absorbing Freya's feelings. And I think she's going to probably step up as well. She's going to realize that Freya doesn't like this. Freya doesn't know it, but Freya doesn't like this. She's not going to be true to herself. And I think there will come a time where Horn is going to step up and tell Freya, you know what you want. Why are you fighting it? Why are you trying to be Freya and control everything when you could just be Seer and be with him? You don't need to do all this stuff. Again, I think that direction would be much more interesting. And it's probably going to do both at the same time. And that's kind of what I was predicting originally, was it's going to do both. It's going to be an all-out battle. At the same time, Belle's going to be yelling at her, bring Seer back to me. I liked Seer better. I like you, Seer, as a friend. It's going to totally be that. I love you, Seer, as a friend. I love you, Seer, just like everybody else. It's going to totally turn to that. And then she's probably going to break. And she'll probably call it all off. It'll probably just call off the whole fight. But I think in the end, it's probably going to turn into her having to become Seer. Because like I've stated before, if Freya has done this and taken control of everybody, in the end, she has to be sent back or she has to hide as Seer. That's going to be the two routes that I see this ending, because I don't think I'd see all these gods and goddesses being cool with her after she literally took control of everything. But we'll see. But no, it was actually very interesting that at the point in which she was confronting Ryu, she said that she's pretty much taken off all of her controls. Like, she's no longer holding back. And that was a sign, the idea that she immediately charmed Ryu. She didn't want to do that. Again, Ryu's different. She immediately, without hesitation, charmed her. And she had to get rid of it again. This is proof that I'm no longer holding back. I'm going to charm everything. And I've removed those limits to prevent myself from using an ability I hate. I think she said specifically that she does not like the ability. She doesn't like it. Which is, I'm very curious. Why does she not like it so much? I'm assuming that something is going to come up about her past, that the charm has affected people that she liked, and it skewed her relationships, and she didn't realize it. People liked me that I didn't realize liked me because of my charm, and I didn't like it. I want to control things a different way. And she's gone back to that and accepted it. And that's, again, going to get into why Horn right now is feeling right now, absorbing what she's feeling, that she's not gained any of this stuff. And she's perfectly fine with it, but deep down she doesn't realize she doesn't like it. And Horn's probably going to tell her that. You know you don't like this. It's an interesting route for it to take. Very interesting point in this episode, too, the point where Freya is trying to break Belle. Again, mentioning the idea that she just needs to get him to acknowledge the curse. If I can get him to acknowledge that it's a curse, because she's saying, I can help you cure it, would you let me, see if I can cure it? It's not a cure. There's no cure. She's just trying to get him to acknowledge that it is a curse. That's all she needs. She specifically brings up the Realis freeze, or phrase, whatever you want to call it. I know there's two different ways of translating it. I'm curious why she brings it up, because that was the skill that Belle originally got. That was his first skill. He got this way back in like episode 1 when Ice came in and saved him. He got a skill that, depending on his passion or his push for something, he will grow faster. And why is she bringing that up now? Why is that skill important to her unless she doesn't want him to lose it by breaking him? Because she's at the same time talking about how she needs to break him. I need to get him to accept that as a curse. I need him to lower down those barriers. But then she brings up specifically that skill as if it's something that either blocks it, this is what is blocking it, or is it more of a fact that she doesn't want it to break itself? She doesn't want him to lose that skill, because I guess the argument could be made that if he does not have a passion for something, if he doesn't have a push for something, if I break him too much, he'll lose that growth and strength. I can see one of those two things. But it could be more of a fact that that is something that is going to keep tying him to Eyes. But I don't think that Belle is aware of that skill. So I don't think that could be the case, because originally Hestia never told him about it. She kept it a secret from him, and I don't think she ever revealed it to Belle. She may have at some point. I just don't recall. Anywho, outside of that, I'm kind of curious as to why Mia is not affected by the charm either. I guess that sort of implies that Mia was something special, because I think they've always implied that she's strong. Like, she's apparently probably from some previous group. I don't recall if they've ever gotten to who Mia once was, but I'm kind of curious why she's not affected. I don't think she's part of the Freya Familia. But because it kind of implies the idea that any members of the Freya Familia is not affected by it. And again, Anya specifically has been kind of saved from it as well. So it makes sense why it sort of makes sense why the two of them are the only people in that tavern that can still remember who Seer is. But man, I feel bad for Anya. I am really expecting and hoping that she has a really good point in this arc where she finally goes, all right, gloves off. It's Anya time. it's Anya time. But yeah, that all wraps up the episode with that scene with Freya and Belle and him calling out to Seer. It was interesting again, like the idea of him kind of pointing out that he knows that something's wrong with her. And again, this is a sign that this is Freya being conflicted about what's happened. She had this whole experience with Ryu. It has shaken her up. As much as she wants to talk about how this is all a game, I've been playing with everybody. It was all just an act. Haha, that Seer's dead. Let's move on. Hey, let's have a harem together with Belle. She's hurt. She still inside is hiding from her true feelings, and Belle can see that. Because he's a protagonist character of a harem show, he can see right through her. And she likes that. And she falls in love with him again. And then he points out the fact that she looks like Seer. And that upsets her. A pinching the cheek thing. A brief moment of seeing Freya being super silly. I love it. So we're like 2 for 2 now because she's like, you're the only person that would scream and run out of my room, my bed chambers. Not even gods have run out of my bed chambers. And then here he's literally talking about a different woman in front of her. Nobody else would ever do that to the goddess of love. It was super goofy. But anyways, I think that's all my thoughts on episode 7 of Danmachi. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as always. If you did, hit the like button down below, comment. Let me know what's the thought of the episode. In addition, if you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button. If you like my content, you want to support the channel more, I have links in the description below. Greatly appreciate it. Until next time, y'all take care.